Peace and salutations. My name is Michael J. Turner. I am the Southwest Shaman, the Earl of Arizona, and you are now shining with the Arizona sun. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here, which is wherever you're at. Coming with love from Arizona. This is StereoPHX 888, a channel about personal development, growth on YouTube, and how I'm changing my life from low vibe to high vibe. I can't save you, and I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I can share with you how I'm saving myself. I came through a situation in 2006. I was 19 years old, and I was involved in some neighborhood activity, and I got shot in the left side of my face, and the bullet went into my neck. Now, the bullet passed through my side view mirror, and it passed through the driver's side door window, and then it entered into the side of my cheek, went under my tongue, and lodged itself in the side of my neck. I had the bullet removed about 2 months later. I'm telling this story right now for the second time. I have another video on my channel about this story, but I got a few questions, and I don't have those questions right in front of me, but I do appreciate those questions. I mean, I appreciate the individual who asked them. I mean, I really do. And hopefully I answer them now. So I was involved in like a neighborhood clique, basically, and the people who were shooting at me were part of a gang called LCM, but they were a subdivision of that gang called 8th Street. I was in the Sunny Slope area in Phoenix, Arizona, 14th Street in Mountain View to be exact. I was outside of the apartments there, facing east. I was dropping off my homie because they saw us at the drive-thru liquor store nearby. I was dropping them off. They came around another way through the side streets, and they were coming west on Mountain View. They basically stopped about a car length away from my vehicle and started to proceed to go ahead and start dumping, as we say. And the bullet that hit me my friend is no longer with us. His name is Draylon Willis Jr. He thought I was dead because I was slumped on the steering wheel. And when we did have to deal with my vehicle after the fact, and I did have to clean it out, my mother and I actually had to clean it by hand, the blood and glass that was in the vehicle, because the insurance company, the car lot, they was going to fix my window. They wouldn't touch it. I don't blame them. And let me tell you, on a side note, I drove that car still after the fact. It was a red 2000. It was a red Honda Civic. Okay, the year was 2006. It was a red two-door Honda Civic. I drove it after the shooting, after I had, healed up or whatever. Blood seemed to ooze out of the cracks and the crevices in the Phoenix, Arizona summer sun, summer heat. Also, there were blood stains on the glass, on the windshield. They just I couldn't get them out. We couldn't get them out. So there were permanent reminders within the vehicle. And there was also kind of a weird smell I felt. I mean, throughout my life, there are certain smells I can just associate strongly with things. The smell of blood is one of those things, because there's been a few instances in my life where there's been enough blood present in the air, open in the open, for you to smell it. Anyway, so let's just run it back, man. You know, I got hit. Basically, I came to, and I just remember seeing my hand hit the gear shifter, go put it in reverse, and the vehicle went back like one of those RC cars. I hit the curb. I remember I looked for my cell phone, couldn't find it. I started to look. I started to panic. I look up in the mirror. Blood started to come out of the hole in my cheek. Blood started to come out of my mouth. I started to feel like, is this really real? Is this really happening? A voice in my head just said, just drive. Literally, a voice in my head said, just drive. So I drove. On a two-lane street. One way, you know, only I had to get into the oncoming traffic lane to go around one motherfucker. I remember driving by this guy, looking over at him. I got blood coming out of my mouth, covering the steering wheel. You know what I'm saying? Blood on a windshield. The guy looks over at me. I'm just driving by, you know, as fast as my little two-door Honda Civic could go. I hit a left on 7th Street in Mountain View, through the red light. A cop was there, or whatever. A cop started to follow me. I saw a right-hand turn at the shopping strip mall where High Society, the smoke shop, was, and Lenny's Burgers was. I hit a right. I didn't know where it was going to lead, but that right turn led me directly to the emergency room pull-up area. And it's not even like that anymore. Over there in Sunny Slope, the hospital is completely different. If that were to have happened now, I wouldn't have been able to get there like that. And a side note, about 2 weeks later, an individual named John THiZz got shot in the eye, an equal distance from the hospital, but didn't live because it took the ambulance 15 minutes to get there. He was on Hatcher in 12th Street or something like that. He died. Anyway, I pull up to the hospital, jump out, blood on the floor, on the ground, splat, like all this blood pooled up on my pants. I run into the hospital. I'm like, I'm shot. They come at me immediately. They just come at me with the wheelchair right underneath me, wheeling me into the room, into the operating room. They pick me up on a table, cut open my shirt. I'm telling them I'm not a gangbanger. I'm not a gangbanger, because I see the cop back behind me already. And next thing I'm saying, somebody call my job. I'm not gonna make it Monday. They're like, stop talking. Next thing I know, I wake up in ICU. A buddy of mine standing over me, he says, "You look beautiful." My face was the size of a watermelon. I couldn't speak. My tongue was all, you know. I remember calling my friend that's no longer with us, Graylin. He said that they were out trying to retaliate for me. I was like, yo, how you gonna do that, man? I don't even know who it was. I can't even put a face to it. I don't have someone to be. It don't make sense to me for you guys to do that. We later made a song about this, you know, kind of documenting the whole event, but I didn't speak, or I couldn't be around for like a good year or so after that. Ended up staying out in Tullison with my folks, but I was in ICU for 4 days. I remember I got up, and one of the most impactful things of this was when I took my catheter out I was like, oh my god, you know, I woke up with this thing, and I was like, when it came time to take it out, it was like, that was not cool. But I got up, I was walking around ICU, you know, and they were like, nah, you can't be doing that, man, because I saw a guy in a full body cast. There's people who are really, so I felt so blessed that in 4 days I was already walking around. Other people were definitely not, they were bedridden. I just felt like, oh my god, this is amazing. I indicated to them that I had like little to no pain. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't drug seeking then. At that point, which, you know, some people would have already been. I went home, and it wasn't until a friend of mine had brought me some weed, actually, that everything hit me. Like, what happened? Like, reality hit me. And that's kind of what cannabis has always done for me. It makes a reality hit. As in, not that this is even like, you know, because this is a, you know, I'm living in a physical form, but I'm a spiritual being, you know, and this is just a simulation, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just a plane of existence that I'm experiencing for the Most High, for God. So it's not that reality hits, but like, I'm able to reflect and self-analyze. It's like cannabis reveals yourself to you. That is a quote from Bob Marley. Anyway, it hit me what had happened. That I had been shot in the face, and I started to cry. You know, and I had nightmares about it. So right when that event happened, that's one thing that created a void that I started to fill with alcohol at an eventual point. There was a series of events that happened at that point in my life that created a void. And see, it's that void that I needed to be able to fill on my own, cultivating the necessary emotions within myself without an external aid to do so. So I was already heavy into smoking cannabis, but it was the alcohol that I liked because it made me not give a fuck. It gave me the ability to turn into a savage. And I liked that at the time because my dad passed away about 2 months later, and I needed to be able to not give up about. So when I found opiates, it was, where have you been all my life? You know? But back to the shooting. When I lost 2 pints of blood on the way to the hospital. They said that they caught the guys. I don't know who they were. That, you know, it is some trippy shit. The police had told me that the individual's name, and I ran into an individual later when I was locked up in the penitentiary that had that name, but it wasn't him. But I was like, yo, this is crazy. It is him, because it would have made sense for him to have been, you know, where I was at, because I was on a 3-yard with lifers. So when this guy popped up and they had the same name and he was from Yuma, I was like, well, you know, but yeah, it wasn't him. But anyway, more information. I still have the hospital report that details the exact surgery, the artery that they repaired in my neck, you know, how much blood I received, the size of the wound, all those things. Other information about myself that I didn't know that they had at that time. Yeah, I was 19 years old. Yes, I still have the scars. They didn't let me keep the bullet because they wanted to have it for evidence, but it was like a hunk of, you know, a ball of metal, jagged ball of metal that came out of my neck. About a month later, or 2 months later, when access cleared the surgery. So I actually had gone back to work with a bullet protruding from my neck. What else? What else, man? Oh, yeah. When my mother and I went to go clean the car, we found that a bullet had gone straight through. From the side, through the back, and out the trunk. So, there ain't no hiding behind a car, you know, generally. And, yeah. It was all math that day. I had determined and came to the conclusion at one point years ago that it was all math, and that's why I was allowed, I was preserved and I was kept, because in any situation it's numbers involved, and you can basically break it all down to numbers, like what time of day it was, the temperature outside, my position, how much I weighed, my height, my age, all those numbers, you know. The speed of the bullet, the density of the window it went through, all those things, the angle, those are all numbers, and they can all be plugged into a matrix. Because look, that's what this is. And I allowed my trauma to be my identity for a long time, and as if that wasn't enough, I remember thinking at one point that I hadn't experienced enough wild shit, and so I got more. But see, I allowed that to be like you meet me and this is what you get, and it's shocking, and I guess I had got like I allowed that to carry me, like the strength of that to carry me for a long time. But like, those things are really nothing to really be like proud of, unless I alchemize them, like unless I survive them and alchemize them into something that's beneficial for me and the rest of the world. So here it is, StereoPHX 888. That is what this channel is about. It's about alchemy and transmutation, abstract personal development. It's about, you know, changing from low vibe to high vibe, if you want. That's what I want. That's what I'm doing. That's what I am. I embody that. So I have to share that just simply by existing and doing it, you know, like, so it can be seen, and if you choose, you can adapt my ways onto your ways and make them your ways and change them into however they work best for you. That's what my channel is all about, man. And so no longer am I personified by my trauma. No longer do I allow that to be my identity. I am so much more than that. But here's some food for thought. Trauma is activation. It can be. So allow it to be that. Choose that. I'm choosing that now. My traumas throughout the years were activations for me to level up. I'm choosing that now because I'm now deciding to use those experiences and decide on how I remember them so that they can be alchemized and change the present time. That's how you change the past. Yeah, we already don't remember things exactly, precisely the way they were. So, might as well put a spin on how it affected me, how I felt about it in the moment. You know, I can remember that different. I don't have to remember it, like, change the way it went or anything, but I can change the way I felt about it, the way I remember feeling about it back then. You know? I'm gonna let y'all cook on that. Put y'all on simmer. Still, you know what I'm saying? Let y'all simmer on that. StereoPHX 888. I am the Southwest Shaman. Hit that like and subscribe if you ain't already, alright? Peace. Love, peace, and hair grease.